Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My Karen sister complained about my neighbors, so I kicked her out. After that, don't go to the emergency room when it's not an emergency. And after that, donating to an animal shelter does not make my dog adoptable. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen gets kicked out. Fine, I'm tired of living with you anyway. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My Karen sister complained about my neighbors, so I kicked her out. I, 31, male, have lived at the same home for 2 years and I'm very friendly with my neighbors. They're nice people, married couple in their late 40s with a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old. Every weekend since I've lived there, they like to have a small get-together with their family. Not a big party, but they do grill out on their porch, play music, and chat. It's never more than 10 people. Honestly, it's never bothered me. Music is always off by 10 p.m. and they don't get rowdy. My family isn't close like that, so it actually feels nice they do it every weekend, and sometimes they've invited me over for a burger. Like I say, nice people. My sister, 27, female, is having problems with her boyfriend and she doesn't want to stay at their place right now, so here she is. The past month, she complained about my neighbors and how annoying they are. She doesn't know how I stand it, and I should tell them something. But I've literally got no problem with it, and I told her that they're not doing anything wrong. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I was approached by the husband, and he apologized for being so rude. Had no idea what he was talking about. He said my wife complained to him about their loud music the other weekend, and me and her both have gotten extremely annoyed by it. She threatened to call the police if they kept this up because they are disturbing the peace. I was pretty red from both anger and embarrassment, so I explained to him that I have no problems with that and she's my sister, not my wife. Apparently, she said that so they'd take her more seriously as the owner of the house. My sister refused to apologize and said she absolutely would call the police because they need to learn not to be annoying with their music. So that's when I told her to look somewhere else to stay if she's going to cause problems with my neighbors. Right now, she's couch surfing between friends, and my family is upset that I was willing to kick her out of my home over issues with my neighbors. My parents are far, so of course they can't take her in, and because I'm the only person close to her, they feel like I'm not being a very good brother for caring more about this than my sister having somewhere to stay. I feel like I'm in a way justified and not wanting her to create problems between our houses, but at the same time, yeah, she doesn't have a place to stay right now. So, am I the jerk? Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or his sister? Please let us know. She shouldn't have gone behind his back and lied like that. Don't go to an emergency room when it isn't an emergency. I'm an ultrasound technologist and used to work for a freestanding emergency room. I worked 40 hours during the day, Monday through Thursday, and was on call every night from the time I got off work until I went back in the morning. So basically, even if I've already worked 10 plus hours that day and get off at 8 p.m., if a patient comes in at 2 a.m. and needs an ultrasound, I had to get out of bed, get dressed, drive to work, do the exam, drive home, and hope to get some sleep before clocking back in a few hours later. Most of the time, I'm okay with this. You don't show up at the emergency room in the middle of the night unless you really need help. Mostly. Another important fact is in my state, it is illegal to discuss anything about the findings of the exam with the patient. I can't show them pictures, I can't tell them if I think they have gallstones, etc. I could lose my job and license to practice if I do. I take the pictures, send them to a radiologist, and he makes the report for the ER doctor and the patient. Also, remember, this is an emergency room. This is not a doctor's office or one of those places you can get a fun 3D ultrasound done when you're pregnant. This is not a happy, fun place. So one night I was called in around 1 a.m. after already having worked a 12-hour shift. The previous night I had been called out multiple times, so I was operating on about 4 hours of sleep for the past 2 days. So I get to work and the ordering doctor tells me the patient is pregnant and complaining of severe left-sided pain. So I need to do an OB ultrasound to make sure baby is okay and there isn't anything life-threatening going on. Okay, no problem. So I bring the patient into my room and ask her where she's hurting, so she can point to the exact spot so I know where to focus and double check everything. The patient points to her right side and just casually says, "Over here somewhere." Because I'm too sleep deprived, I assumed maybe I was confused and forgot which side the doctor told me was concerning. Me: "I'm sorry, I thought the doctor said it was your left side that was bothering you." Patient: "Oh yeah, my left side, that's it." Me: "So, where does it hurt?" "Can I be honest?" "Of course, please tell me what's going on." "So, I'm not really hurting, but I don't have an ultrasound scheduled for this baby until Tuesday. And tonight I was looking online for nursery decorations and I found this gorgeous bed set on sale. But the sale ends at 7 a.m. and I don't know if I should order blue or pink because I don't know if I'm having a boy or a girl." Me: "So you have absolutely no medical concerns whatsoever?" Now the patient sees she's made a mistake and starts backtracking. "Oh, I mean, plus, my side hurts." Me: "Right, okay." So I just go ahead and start the exam. I take all of the important measurements, make sure the baby's heart looks good, etc. Patient: I can't see the screen." Me: "That's because I can't show you anything or discuss this exam at all. The radiologist will make a report for the ER and they'll let you know what the radiologist says." "Oh, so the ER doctor will tell me if I'm having a boy or a girl?" Me: "No, that's not medically relevant. This exam is to make sure the baby is safe and healthy." "But I have to know what I'm having. I have to know before 7 a.m. Me: "Sorry, that isn't part of the exam. I don't even look to see if it's a boy or a girl. Here in the emergency room, we are responsible for making sure there aren't any life-threatening issues happening. Whether she's having a boy or a girl is in no way relevant." Patient: "But you can just take a peek, right?" Me: "No, I really can't. And even if I saw anything, it would not go in the report as it's not medically relevant." "I don't need it in the report. You can just tell me." "No, I can't. I'm not allowed to discuss anything about the results of this exam. I just take the pictures." But, I came here because I need to know my baby's gender." Me: "You said you came here because you were having severe pain." "Well, yes, of course. But still, can't you just give me a hint?" Remember, this is almost 2 a.m. I'm tired. I'm trying very hard to keep a smile on my face, and this woman had me miss precious hours of sleep because she didn't want to miss out on a sale for crib sheets. Me: "Ma'am, I cannot tell you anything about your exam. I can't tell you if the baby's a boy or a girl. I can't tell you anything." "Please, just tell me what color bed set I should order." "I'm an ultrasound technologist, not an interior decorator. I can't tell you anything." "Okay, how about this? If I were you and you were shopping for bedding, what color would you order?" Me: "Probably purple. It's my favorite color." "No, I mean, if you were me and had to choose between blue and pink, what color would you choose?" Me: "So, you want me to tell you what color bed set I would order between blue and pink?" "Yes, just tell me, blue or pink." "Okay, and we're strictly talking about just bedding, right?" Patient, thinking we have come upon an unspoken agreement: "Yes, just talking about bedding." Me: "If I could only choose between pink and blue, I would for sure order blue." The patient immediately pulls out her phone while I'm still trying to do her ultrasound and orders the blue crib set. For your information, she was having a girl. She asked me what color bedding I would choose, and I hate pink, so I was completely honest. Donating to an animal shelter does not make my dog adoptable. So this happened to me a few months ago. Just posting now because quite frankly, I've finally dealt with the circumstances. My older dog had to be put down, which sucked, yeah, but I didn't feel right just throwing his stuff out. Things like his harness, leash travel kennel, etc. So I cleaned it all up and took it down to the local animal shelter. One of my younger dogs is in training to be an ESA for my wife. Had his work harness and clear signage that he was in training along with his name. He's also an alumni of this particular animal shelter, so I took him along while I was dropping my older dog's stuff off. Younger dog, being in ESA training, is very sociable and likes to say hi to everyone, especially the kids. He loves them and they love him. This particular kid, however, was probably too young to read the Ask to Pet badges on his harness, however. I doubt his mother was, though. Fred, my younger dog, will break the rules if it means he gets FaceTime with a kiddo. So I interrupt, make Fred sit, then release him to get loved on. While I was talking with one of the shelter workers about my older dog, Mother interrupts and asks for an adoption form. Okay, cool. That's what shelters are for. I did not immediately realize she was talking to me because of having my attention split between the shelter worker, my dog, and her kid. Shelter worker: who did you pick? Entitled mom: this one. Points at Fred: think he's too old to change his name? The employee gives me a panicked look. Me: ma'am, this is my dog. I only brought him along because we got him here about a year ago. Karen: well, you brought him back. I want to adopt him. Worker: he's not surrendering his dog. He was bringing in some donations. Karen: angry glare at both of us. You shouldn't have non-adoptable dogs in the shelter. Now this kid is crying because his mother assumed anything with 4 legs was fair game and told him they could take my dog home. She snaps: see what you did. I hope you're happy. Stomps out, darn near forgetting her own crying kid. Note: Fred is my first attempt at training an ESA, though I do have long experience with hunting and general obedience training, but I think I'm doing okay. This is the second time someone has gotten upset with me because I wouldn't let them adopt or buy Fred. Edit: rather than reply to each individual comment, I'm just going to say, yes, I am well aware of the differences between a service animal and an emotional support animal. Fred is not trained, certified, or badged as a service animal when he's in his harness, nor do I attempt to pass him as one. I know the people that do a great disservice to those that actually need their service animals. He only goes to pet-friendly places with us. I've had long experience training and handling dogs with a number of jobs. Fred is simply to be a comfort and companion. His work harness simply is to put him in a good manners mode because he's still very young and a pretty high energy / high intelligence dog. Left to his own devices, well, there's a reason I occasionally call him a dingo. Speaking of dogs, do you have a dog? And if so, what kind? Please let us know. Teacup poodles for the win. Shut my mouth? Fine, I'll sit back and watch you struggle. The school I currently work at went through an overhaul of assessment marking and submission policies. Important fact, all assessment marking was done by hand because we were still stuck in the dinosaur age. So the head teacher holds a meeting stating that all marking is to be changed to an online system where we would have to type a separate comment for each criteria for all assessment tasks rather than write an overall comment. You can imagine the uproar from all of the older teachers. They were super comfortable with writing, but can you imagine the 2-finger typing method they were used to? Not to mention finding the letters. I had already saw this change coming as all students went online due to lockdown, and it was me who implemented this change for my department. I had a light bulb moment when all that happened, so in my own time, I reworked every single assessment by reducing the amount of criteria by half of what we had, so we would have less lines to mark. More work for me, but less work for everyone else. But, being a team player is always good, right? I raised my hand in the meeting to tell them what had been done for us all, but me being the youngest teacher there, they told me to put my hand down, shut up, and sit in my spot while they moaned and groaned about the changes. Fine, so I sat there, waiting for my time to go home. Fast forward a week when an assessment with 6 lines is released to be marked. It may not seem like much, but if I have 6 lines times around 50 words times 60 students, it all adds up. It took me about 5 days to completely finish all of the marking for my students in between all of the other teaching and social life activities I had. But not for the other teachers. All of them had to bring work home every night, and some were also coming in as early as 5 a.m. as they were falling behind so badly. Not to mention the teacher who accidentally forgot his wife's birthday as he sat at work marking, as she sat at the dinner table waiting for him, who never showed up until bedtime. The looks on their faces were priceless when I went home on time every day. Thank you, speech recognition. This lasted for about 3 weeks until all teachers finally finished their work. After all of the flames settled down, the head teacher calls me into her office and asks me how did I manage to complete my work so efficiently So I pull out all of my assessment reworks and place it on her table. I told her, "Remember how you told me to put my hand down, shut up, and sit tight? I was trying to lighten our workload and help everyone out." Then I look up at her whiteboard in her office, and she had written up a plan which stated exactly what I had done for assessment reworking in my spare time to help. So I turned around and said, "Told you so." Then I walked out. Now I'm the leader of assessment design for my department at school, and everyone cannot thank me enough for giving back their free time every time an assessment comes around. I still haven't told anyone about speech recognition, but that's just my ace up my sleeve. Am I the jerk for telling my cousin to move out? I, 27 female, own my house. I also have a 9-month-old puppy and a 3-month-old puppy. The younger one is obviously not fully housebroken. My cousin, mom, and brother all live with me. I've been having a hard time with the fact I am the only one cleaning anything in the house, including the bathroom I don't use since I have my own in my room. Anyway, yesterday morning I woke up to a note from my cousin on the kitchen table saying the dogs are to be crated every time I leave the house and every time I go to sleep. My dogs free roam and I own the house. I'm not being told what to do with my dogs, and they also are in my room with me all night with the door closed. I also woke up to my dogs having busted open a bag of confectionery sugar all over the couch because my cousin forgot to close the pantry door. This was done when I was getting ready for work. This is a constant fight with him. I tell him to close the bathroom door constantly so the dogs don't get to the trash or toilet paper. Everyone else in the house can remember, but he can't. He was also mad the younger puppy had an accident in the house. When he woke up, I told him my dogs will not be crated. The younger puppy is 3 months old and not fully potty trained yet, and the accidents are becoming less frequent. I told him it was his fault he left the pantry door wide open, just like I have to clean up the mess in the bathroom every day when he doesn't close the door. I also told him not to be bringing any needles into my house, and my older puppy found one of them, and I stopped her from chewing it, and thank God it was still capped and empty. I'm home all day with my dogs since I work from home, but it's a call center environment, and I can't get up from my desk. I told him he's being careless and potentially causing my dogs harm. He didn't like that. We got into a big fight. I told him to leave. He said I was neglecting my dogs, which set me off because my dogs are my kids, and if he would just clean up after himself, it wouldn't be an issue. I told him before he complains about my dogs, he should learn to clean up after himself and stop leaving trash all over the kitchen for me to clean. He said he was moving out, so I said fine. You can leave now since you're being so careless with the measures I put in place so the dogs don't make a mess and get into stuff that can hurt them. He called the police. They said I have to evict him, but still asked him to leave. My mom said I could have handled it better, but I'm tired of being nice and asking politely when it obviously doesn't do anything. He was also mad I asked him to move his work equipment from my front patio for the millionth time because I said I don't want it there. It looks trashy. I'm just trying to keep my house inside and out clean and keep my dogs safe. Am I the jerk for telling him to just get out? Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her cousin? Please let us know. Why are you letting this cousin live with you in the first place? Entitled Mom yells at me because I won't change the price of a toy. So this happened a while ago, but it still makes me fume every time I think about it. So I'm a supervisor at a supermarket. One day a cashier calls for me to come and help with something. I get over there, and it's a mom and her kid. The mom claims the toy she has in her hands was only $9. Now, we're supposed to be strict about this kind of stuff because most of the time, an item has just been moved to the wrong place. Just so we're clear, we can't honor a price every time something is in the wrong place. It's a huge store, and we would be run out of business doing that. Anyway, back to the story. I go with the customer to the toy section so she can show me where she found it. I see that the toy was clearly in the wrong spot, and all 3 other toys like this are an aisle away, and they're ringing up $20. I tell the customer this, and then a crap storm occurs. We've got me, we've got Entitled Mom, and we've got her kid. Entitled Mom. Okay, but I found it here, and you guys say you honor the prices. Me. Not if the item has been moved to another place. If all the other toys like this were in the spot, there might be an exception. But if you read the label here, it says something different than the toy you're talking about. That's not my problem. I found it here. My son really wants it, and you are going to deny it to him? I used to work here. I know how things work, and you have to give it to me for that price. Me, ma'am, I'm sorry, but there is too much of a difference for me to change the price of an item that was in the wrong spot. Her kid. At this point, he's not even caring about the toy. He's playing with a phone and seems perfectly content. Entitled mom. Are you kidding me? You're going to do that to my kid? He's so upset over this. He's throwing a fit. You tell him that you're the reason why he can't have a toy he wants so bad. Tell him. Her kid begins to get upset because she is baiting him. Me, trying to calm her down. Ma'am, entitled mom talking to her son. I'm sorry you can't have it. This woman over here won't let you have it. At this point, she's being so loud that my nearby coworkers have come over to see if everything is okay. I tell the customer I will get her a manager because I'm starting to get so angry that I'm shaking. The manager meets her up front where she continues to yell at him in front of all the cashiers and customers checking out. She's going on about how we are cheating her and that I handled the situation very poorly. Then she asks to speak to the store manager. When she is told that the store manager is unavailable, she calls our corporate number. Oh, and to make things worse, management let her have the toy. She was definitely one of the worst customers I've had to endure. Now, every time I see her, I shudder to think of having to help her again. By the way, it wasn't so bad after because all the cashiers were cracking up about the craziness of this lady, in turn making all the anger go away. And this mother met with the store manager, but everyone else vouched for me about how crazy this lady was, so I didn't get in any trouble. Do you think they should have lowered the price or kept it full price? Please let us know. That Karen needs to learn how to switch the price tags. Tell her to give me a call. I'll be glad to teach her. Am I the jerk for preventing my daughter from getting a new phone? Forgive me if I'm heated in this post, but this situation makes me extremely angry. A few months ago, my daughter smashed her iPhone for a social media post. In the post, she said, "It's okay, my parents will buy me a new one." The thing is, I definitely would have bought her a new one that same day and would have never known if it wasn't for the fact that her brother tipped me off and showed me the post. Her father and I were obviously extremely angry. We both came from rough childhoods and worked hard to build a good life for our kids. So to see her take advantage of that was extremely upsetting in a way I can't even describe. Her father and I are divorced, but we sat down and agreed that 1. We are cutting off her allowance, and her purchases now have to come through us. 2. We will never buy her a new phone, but we might consider a flip phone when she goes to college. 3. We will monitor her social media to make sure she's not participating in damaging content. 4. If she gets a job and wants a new phone, she first has to pay us back for the phone she destroyed. 5. We won't buy her a car when she turns 16. As I said, a few months have passed and I still feel the same way, but her dad has softened and he thinks her attitude has changed. He says that we might be too harsh over a teenager's mistake, and we should at least give her an allowance for chores and change "we're never buying you a phone ever" to "going a year without a phone." Personally, I don't care if all kids have one. She has an iPad with social media and a MacBook. She can still message her friends, but I refuse to get her another phone. If she wants one, she can get a part-time job and work for it so she can see how much work goes into getting a phone. But I don't see value in giving more money to a kid who doesn't know the value of money. I'd rather my daughter be unhappy for a few years over a phone than raise another spoiled and out-of-touch jerk for the world. Her dad respects my opinion and agreed he won't give her a phone or allowance. But now my daughter is angry at me and calling me a narcissist and controlling. However, my actions are a direct result of her misbehavior, and I'm not preventing her from getting a phone. She is free to work and buy one at any point. However, I think I might be the jerk because my daughter will be punished for years over one mistake. Am I the jerk here? Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you buy your kid a new phone or let them get a job and buy one themselves? Please let us know. Oh, give the kid a break. I did things like that all the time when I was a teenager, and look how I turned out. Fiance left me due to my health condition. I left her destitute. We dated for 4 years and had what I thought was a great relationship. We were both well-established professionals who both owned homes in the same neighborhood and both with daughters in the home. Her daughter was 11 and mine was 16 when we met. We had actually planned to get married, build a house, and raise the two together. We planned the house build because she had recently been diagnosed with a neurological disease that would eventually put her in a wheelchair and need something ADA friendly. During the planning stages, I began doing landscape and construction projects on her home to increase the resale value. All in, I invested roughly $30,000 into the home, running everything through my side construction business for tax, permitting, and resale purposes. We had a contract that payment would be made upon the sale of the home. I produced invoices for each and every project, but never pushed for payment because of the prior agreement. Fast forward 6 months, we're looking at property to develop and finalizing drawings on the home when I began feeling ill. I couldn't eat, constantly vomiting and passing blood. I began noticing that my abdomen looked swollen, which was odd because we were both very clean eaters and were in the gym every day. So I went to the doctor and began having tests done. During this time, she began having small cognitive issues, and the stress of her current position was exacerbating her condition. So she took a $20,000 per annum cut in pay along with a lesser position inside the company. After a month or so of different tests and a biopsy, it came back that I had a golf ball-sized tumor in my stomach and would need to begin chemotherapy. So I began chemo and radiation treatments, which made me, expectedly so, extremely ill. She was spending time helping around my place on the weekends and staying over more, to the point that they were both at my home more than theirs. At this point, I suggested that we go ahead and put one of our houses on the market and move in together until the new house was built. I have great supplemental insurance as well as a long-term illness plan, so using that coupled with the sale of one of our houses would push us through comfortably and help ease the financial stress on her. Shortly after this discussion, she became extremely distant. Her daughter wasn't coming down and hanging out with mine anymore. She had excuses for not getting together. She quit driving me to treatments and stopped staying over. She then dropped a bomb, a sentence that will forever be burned into my psyche. I love you, but I can't see myself taking care of someone this sick in the long term, and I don't think we should see each other any longer. In a text. It broke me, I won't lie. This was the first woman I had ever opened up to and planned a life with since my wife died when my kids were 1 and 3. However, I tried to be mature about it. I forced myself to understand her position and to accept what I could not change. I calmly, the next day, gathered all of her things, packed them neatly, loaded them into my truck, and took them to her house to leave on the back porch while she was at work, in order to avoid any awkward exchanges. Walking around the back and under the porch cover, I sat down in a box and saw her in the back living room, on the couch, hooking up with a guy that she had introduced me to as a lifelong friend. I had dinner and drinks with this man and his girlfriend. We had gone on vacation with them as well. I never spoke on the incident with her and simply sent her a text later explaining that I would leave her things on my side porch to pick up at her convenience. I discovered 8 or 9 months later from his now ex-girlfriend that they had broken up due to him confessing that he had been hooking up with my significant other dating back to about the time we were finishing drawings on the new home. Now I'm mad. Revenge time. At this point, I had finished chemo and radiation for the time being and was feeling healthier. I was going through some much neglected paperwork when I ran across the file that contained $32,000 in unpaid, long overdue invoices, which were promptly sent to my attorney to begin lien proceedings on the home. It turns out that I couldn't have done this a moment too soon because she was set to put her house on the market. Coupled with interest over the course of what was then 19 months overdue, the invoices were hefty. That, along with the agreement of settling them when the house was sold and attorney fees, left her with roughly $10,000 after the sale of the home and settling her current mortgage. She promptly had to back out of the purchase of another home and moved in with her oldest daughter, sister-in-law, and 2 grandkids. She also had to leave her home and begin receiving disability. I ran into her a little over a year ago, and she looked as if she had aged 20 years and was in the wheelchair we had talked about. We chatted cordially, but briefly, and I excused myself and went on with my day. A few days later, her younger daughter called me and spoke of my running into her mom and could we hang out sometime. I gave her a vague answer, thanked her for calling, and again went on with my day. The ex then called me a week or so later and began apologizing for leaving me as she did. Again, cordial but short. I thanked her for calling and hung up. She began texting, and this went on for several weeks until she asked if I could ever see us rekindling what we had, to which I replied, I can't see myself taking care of someone so sick in the long term. Remember the box on your back porch? Did you think that lifelong friend brought that over to you from my house? Good luck to you. Goodbye. I sometimes feel guilt over this, but not much and not often. Am I the jerk for telling my boyfriend to get a job or get out? I, 27, have been with my boyfriend, who's also 27, for 8 years, and we've been living together for 6. For college graduation, my dad gifted me a house, paid off, as he is very well off. Since graduation, I've started my career and have become very successful and enjoy my work. My boyfriend has not. He did not complete college and has jumped between low-paying jobs for the last 6 to 7 years. This never bothered me. I make enough money to support us both. I pay our utilities and other fees with some help from him. Late last year, my boyfriend lost his job and was still looking for a new one when the lockdown hit. He now claims it is nearly impossible to get a job, which I understand, but have also had other friends in the same town manage to get jobs since the lockdown. All of this would be okay, except my dad lives in a city nearby and will often stop by, with warning. When he does, I do not mind him eating anything he wants out of the refrigerator or using my appliances. I figured he gave me a place to live payment-free, so it's only fair. I also do not care if my boyfriend eats whatever he wants either. Last week, my dad ate food that my boyfriend had purchased. This has happened in the past, but from my perspective, we live rent-free, so it shouldn't be a big deal. It is never special food, normally like regular chicken or something you can get at the market. My boyfriend is normally annoyed, but this time he went ballistic and took my dad's laptop charger out of his bag to get even. By the time my dad figured out his charger was missing, his computer was almost dead and he had an important virtual meeting. Thankfully, he had a spare, but I was livid. I told my boyfriend that he lives rent-free and that if he was going to act that insane about some food when he regularly eats what I buy and turn into a child, then I expected him to get a job and pay rent, or else get out. He chose to get out, but accused me of being a jerk and throwing him out on the street. However, he has a brother and a sister that live nearby, as well as his mother who regularly asks him to come stay with her, which he normally doesn't. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Please come listen to this video next, you're gonna love it. And huge shout out to our newest official channel member, Ashley. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to us. Join as a channel member today and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And to have us make any kind of video you'd like us to, just head over to our Fiverr. Link pinned in the comments below.